Welcome to One Tired Teacher, episode 113, a conversation about Makerspace. So today I sit down with a fellow educator from Arkansas and we talk all about Makerspace. And the point of this conversation was actually right before I was creating my course, Mastering Makerspace, and I really wanted to get some feedback from another teacher from different locations, and I kind of wanted to see what they were doing. So this was like my research phase of creating Mastering Makerspace, and I wanted to speak to other teachers. And so we have a really good conversation about Makerspace and all the things that she's doing and some of the things that I was excited about, and I wanted you to hear some of it because I think it really will give you a feel of what you might be able to do at your school and even in your classroom, which as I was speaking with this teacher, I realized that this is really like my passion and my drive is for classroom teachers to take Makerspace and create that in your classroom. It doesn't have to be a big school-wide thing. It doesn't have to be a media specialist. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. It can be each of us in our classrooms taking this mindset and really allowing it to transform our teaching. So I'm excited to share that with you, and I hope you stick around.
Welcome to One Tired Teacher. And even though she may need a nap, this teacher is ready to wake up and speak her truth about the trials and treasures of teaching. Here she is, wide awake. Wait, she's not asleep right now, is she? She is awake, right? Okay. From Trina Debery Teaching and Learning, your host, Trina Debery.
Hey, so I'm excited to be sharing all about Makerspace today, and I want you to just kind of be like a fly on the wall between two teachers, two educators, longtime educators who talk about Makerspace and kind of what it means to us. So I hope that you enjoy that. I will definitely be interjecting throughout the conversation because this was not meant to be a podcast episode. This was just meant to be a conversation between two people, but I think it's so valuable that I wanted to share it with you. I also want to tell you, I'm so excited to announce that I have a free masterclass or a free training, if you will, on Makerspace. Every classroom needs a Makerspace. The 5 fundamentals to getting one up and running or up and started. So I'd love for you to join me for this masterclass. I have several different dates available, actually starting on the 15th, which is President's Day. So I've given two time options on President's Day. So maybe you have a little bit of extra time and you'd like to join me. You can find this at trinadeberyteachingandlearning.com, right in the main menu, free Makerspace Masterclass. So I'm hoping that you will like to join me. You're going to join a free Facebook pop-up group. It's a private Facebook pop-up group, and that is where the training will be. I have several different times and dates for you to choose from, one that might work for you. When you register to join me, you will have a choice of some dates, and don't get overwhelmed. I just wanted to give you choices. Just pick something that works for you. And then you will immediately be taken to the Facebook group. And once you answer a few questions, you will be entered into the group, and that's where the training will be. So don't forget that part. That's a little bit more complicated to have an extra step on Facebook, but it was the easiest way for me to deliver this training to you for free. So hopefully you will join me. And in this training, I will also be talking to you about my new course, Mastering Makerspace. So I'd love to see you there. Again, it's at trinadeberyteachingandlearning.com in the main menu, free Makerspace Masterclass. So let's get to this conversation that I have with a fellow educator from Arkansas. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Anyway, so I appreciate you hopping on with me. I have some questions about because I'm thinking about creating this course on Makerspace, and I want to give people like exactly what they need, and I want it to go in depth enough, but not like be overwhelming. So I want to find like that perfect balance. So, so I'm just gonna ask you some things and you feel free to like say, whatever you're thinking and, and anything like that. So do you have a makerspace?
Yes, our school has a dedicated makerspace, which I built. The job was kind of job crafted for me.
Uh-huh.
I was a math specialist at a local university in the STEM center,
Cool.
and I applied for the job at my current school to be with my kids. And so I applied for the math intervention position, and then they said, "Do you want to be the math interventionist and be the makerspace teacher?" And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, are you for real? This is a
Yeah,
dream.
that's
And so,
awesome.
oh, it was so cool. Both of our elementary schools have dedicated makerspaces. The other one is run by the librarian. And even though it's separate from the library,
Mhm.
her main focus is library and the standards that she has to teach there.
Mhm.
And so we try to collaborate, but because our circumstances are so different, we can't always collaborate with each other. And
Yes.
so I built ours
Uh-huh.
um, based on the Amazium, which is in Bentonville, Arkansas. Have you
Okay.
heard of it? Have you
I
heard of
feel
it?
like I have, but I don't know a lot about it.
Okay. It's I think it's a collaboration between the Kelly family and the Waltons of Walmart fame.
Okay.
And so it is, I can't say that it's exactly a makerspace per se. It has a lot of makerspace components, and it has a lot of STEM components and just a lot of hands-on exploration components. So they have different exhibits that come in and set up that the kids can explore in. Like a lot of times there will be, digging for dinosaur fossils in one room. They have a whole room that's just dedicated to circuits. They have this unbelievable sound wall that goes all the way up to like their 40-foot ceiling. And they just have all sorts of different strings and all sorts of things on the wall. And then they'll have like broken flip-flops that are new. I mean, not,
Uh-huh.
but the kids explore with the different, mediums on the sound wall. It's
Uh-huh.
so cool.
That's
Uh,
so cool.
yeah, they have a whole area that is like a miniature Walmart
Uh-huh.
with all playthings, and the kids just go in and play like they're in a grocery store. It's like a fresh market
Yeah.
with all play stuff. I'm
That
trying
is
to think.
that is so cool.
Isn't that crazy? So I think that I wanted you to hear this part of the conversation because I wanted you to just think about all the possibilities. And anytime she talks about ideas that could go in a makerspace, I just want us to hear it, even if that had to be really scaled back as far as a classroom went. I think it's important to just kind of get your mind around the maker mindset and how outside of the box it really is, and how it doesn't have to be limited to, just building a tower, like, which is still relevant and important, but it doesn't have to be just limited to that. There's so many other aspects of being a maker and being a creator. And so I wanted you to hear that part of it. So the Amazium was an inspiration to the makerspace. So let's hear more about that.
I built our makerspace off of that model, which is part STEM, part makerspace, part constructivist
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
oh, I
it's
love
it
that.
is it's the most amazing. I really feel like I am the luckiest, most blessed teacher that this gets to be my job every day.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. So you're in an elementary school, and do kids like rotate in through you?
Yeah, I'm a camp, like computers and art and, PE.
Yes. Okay.
So I split them with library. So each grade level K4 sees me every other week. And
Okay.
on their off week with me, they go to library. She runs the library in the makerspace.
Yeah, that's cool. That was how I originally started with Makerspace, because I had been in the classroom as a second grade teacher for a really long time. And then I did some other things, and then I went to be a media specialist, and I'm like, I didn't want to be a librarian. I wanted to incorporate technology. I wanted to have a makerspace. I wanted it to be this place that kids like thought and created and were like excited to be in. So that was my original thing. But I have come across, like, as the media specialist, like in my district, we have like more than 50 elementary schools. I can't even remember how many we have. We have a lot. And it might even be like, it's more than that. And I'm always running into that mindset of like library versus like media center. And so I'm like, it's such a different like school of thought. So that's why I was curious. I think that's so cool because yeah. And even sometimes now, like teachers will come through and they're like, you have to be quiet. I'm like, oh no, you don't have to be quiet. Like, this is not a quiet space. So
My makerspace is never quiet ever.
yeah, you can't be quiet when you're collaborating and when you're thinking and you're excited and engaged. Like,
and I do car duty every single morning, and they get out of the car and I'm like, have a great day. And they're like, it's going to be the best day ever, 'cause I get to see you in makerspace. I mean, they're like,
that's awesome.
They live for their makerspace day.
Yeah, that's really cool. What kinds of things are you doing? Like, do you have like challenges, projects that you do when they come through?
So I'm walking a fine line between Makerspace and STEAM Lab. There hasn't been any clear directive from our district. It's called a Makerspace. That's what they hired me for, but I think they really wanted it to be a STEAM Lab. Mm-hmm. And so I'm incorporating components of both. So what my plan for this year was I see them twice a month. Mm-hmm. Half the class was going to come in. They all come in at the same time, but I was going to explain the content part, the STEM or the technology or the engineering, which I mean, it's all pretty integrated.
Yes.
But whatever we were doing, and half the class was going to do the STEAM part on that first week, and half the class was going to do Makerspace the first week. Okay. And then they would flip-flop the second time that I saw them that month, so that I have 1 month of plans and 1 month of content, but they only do it half, and the other half I have Lego wall, I have all sorts of robotics, I have 3D printers, I have like a geoboard wall. I have an art station with just tons and tons of making. I mean, you know, washi tape, pipe cleaners, pom-poms, glue and scissors, all sorts of different punches. They come in and they love to make bookmarks, and they make maker journals, and they sew. I mean, it's those things that I feel really passionately about, like those things that are going to be lost arts at some point, like
yes.
Sewing and woodworking and those things.
I was just going to ask that if you had woodworking, if you had that. Yeah.
I have not. So last year was my first year in the Makerspace, and then it got cut short in March, of course. And so I had all sorts of big plans for a woodworking station. And there's a Makerspace in New York City that does some really, really cool stuff with woodworking. And I've researched them a lot and what they're doing. And they do like the 1 block challenge where they give kids like one small block of wood and they just start whittling and see what happens. And what they make with it. But they have to learn to use all of these different woodworking tools. We've done stuff with hammer and nails. And I have a lot of like make-do cardboard construction stuff. And so they do a lot of construction with make-do. And I'll cut like 12-inch by 12-inch pieces of cardboard and have like hundreds of those. And usually, especially for the little ones, I'll just go ahead and put the holes in them. But then they can screw it. I have a ton of make-do. So they can.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So that is, one way that you could think about doing that in your school. But how would you translate this into what you were doing in your classroom? The reason I wanted you to hear this is because I wanted you to really think about some of those things that you could have, like the sewing and the block of wood and the pipe cleaners and those kinds of things. Like, it doesn't have to be super complex. It can be simple. And also you could think of it as, I'm going to use my Makerspace to cover STEM topics, and I'm going to make sure that I get, science and engineering and, using technology to integrate and math, like all together. I'm going to be able to use my Makerspace to really hone in on some of those disciplines. And I think that that's one way for you to start to understand how you can incorporate Makerspace into your content, into your actual teaching, except for in this case, it's super engaging and very creative and brings all those elements. But again, like, sometimes we think, oh my goodness, this is going to be so difficult. How am I ever going to do this? And so I want to talk about some of the challenges that could arise.
Like, what was one of your biggest frustrations? Like, when you first set it up, like, did you have the materials or did you have to do it completely from scratch?
Math facilitator had kind of been pressed into service as a Makerspace coordinator the year before I came, and she had just curated so many amazing materials, and a lot of them were consumables that were donated or she collected through the community. So I had a ton of those consumables to begin with, and then I kind of became the place where everybody would bring their unwanted science and math materials.
Yes.
That's a really nice way for me to put it. Everybody brought me their stuff, everybody. That came with old curriculums that they didn't want. So like stuff like science stuff like eyedroppers and magnifying glasses and pipettes. And I mean, like, I have so much stuff. So I had all that. And then when they hired me, they gave me a $3,500 budget from PTO to buy lots of materials. I bought so much stuff with that $3,500. And a lot of it was nice big stuff because they already had all the STEM stuff that I was really going to need, or a lot of it. Some of it I bought. And then I got, through my job at the STEM Center previously, I was familiar with a grant awarded by the STEM Coalition in Arkansas. And so I got another $3,000 grant through the STEM Coalition and bought another $3,000 worth of supplies. So that first year it was about $6,500 worth of supplies plus my $500 budget that I just get every year. So about $7,000 worth. It was amazing. Yeah. That won't happen twice.
Yeah. No. That's exciting though, because at least there's things out there, which I definitely think that people like teachers and Makerspace people and media specialists don't know about. So I think there's ways of getting money. If you were going to like start it from scratch and you had to like decide like between like space and time and support and things like that, what do you feel like you would have to have happen first?
One of the things that gets mentioned is space. And I think I think most people feel like it's that they have to have this elaborate space in order to get started, which is not necessarily the case, because a makerspace is not defined by the space or the tools that are used. It really is more of a mindset. So you don't have to have an elaborate space, which I do talk a lot about in Mastering Makerspace. So I do get to that. I address that and we talk about it. I also teach you how to master the clock so that you can actually fit it in your schedule with some specific examples. So I think that will help you get through some of those barriers, because the thing that I really want you to hear is that it doesn't have to take a lot of space. It doesn't have to break the bank, and it doesn't have to be something that you're like, oh my goodness, this is one more thing. How am I ever going to do it? Because it's important enough, it's magical enough to figure it out, and I can help you do that.
Where have you gotten stuck? Has there been any place that you've gotten stuck?
Time.
Yeah.
I would love to, because I'm half-time math intervention, half-time Makerspace.
Okay.
And so I basically have 2 preps, but those 2 preps are really so much more because I've got 7 intervention groups that I see. And I'm the only math interventionist. And if I'm seeing 5% of our student body, which is about 600 kids this year, it's very complicated. The time aspect is very complicated for me in particular. And that's probably been, I can't say it's been a huge frustration, but it has been a big hurdle for me to figure out how to manage my time and have time, because just gathering the resources and changing things out from week to week. Because I also have two separate rooms. I've got a math intervention room in that new construction that's also a storage room for all of our Makerspace stuff. Wow. And it's carts and cart that go to the ceiling full of materials and supplies. So I'm between two rooms with materials. But you mentioned the space aspect. This year, I'm doing all of this off a cart and I'm pushing into classrooms. And so I'm learning to manage it on a much smaller scale.
I also wanted you to hear that aspect because she doesn't just have, it's not just like, oh, this is my one area of focus. She has multiple focuses, and also, 600 students. So that's totally different as it is when we're in the classroom. We have our own pressures, and we've got all the subjects to teach, and we've got the students, and we've got this amount of time that, this mandated reading block and this mandated writing block and this mandated math block and whatever. And so we have all those elements as well. So it's like, it's basically just the barriers, but two different types. But the thing that I really wanted you to notice was how she has made it work even on a cart. And that can be a solution. Like, even if we just have our Makerspace on a cart, or we've got it in tubs, or we take it outside, or it becomes portable, or it's a small thing that we pull out for specific parts of our day. So I think that there are definitely solutions, and that's really the key that I want you to keep in mind. Now, the next thing we talk about is kind of, what do you do during this time, during social distancing, and during, like, how do you handle that many materials when you have to have such an individual amount? Do you have to do like individual materials because they can't share materials and things like that?
Yeah, and a lot of stuff is consumable. So I've moved almost more to just a STEM model this year, but I'm incorporating Makerspace where I can, especially like the only grade level that I have this year that I saw last year in the actual Makerspace is fourth grade. So fourth grade knows what it's like to come into my lab, and they, manage the materials and their time and all that. And so with them, I'll take stations in, and it is more like maker stations. My younger grade levels, I didn't get to see them all last year, just through various circumstances. And so, they don't know what it's like to come in and have those stations, and I'm a huge, like, I want them to have the freedom to choose. Yes. I don't want them to be assigned to one thing.
So this was just one way that we can really think about how we could utilize materials if we're not able to share. And I also I have to deal with that too. We all do in our classrooms, and I have a gel in, gel out system. So I know that they're sanitizing in and they're sanitizing out. And so if they're touching the same thing, I feel like they've at least had, sanitized. So even if you did that for your Makerspace, you're, gelling in Makerspace, gelling out of Makerspace, that's a possibility. And then some of those consumables, when you're using consumables, and you are gathering those materials, which I definitely go over how you can find materials and how there are areas and places that solve this problem. I go through that in depth and actually give you the words to use when you're gathering the materials in Mastering Makerspace. But anyway, you have you have some options, especially if you're using like toothpicks and you're using recyclable trash, you're using, water bottles, and you're using paper towel holders and things like that. Then you have an opportunity for students to have those things on their own, to like have individual materials that they don't necessarily have to share. And also there are some virtual options, which is a bonus in Mastering Makerspace. And teaching STEM components is just one thing you can do with Makerspace. There are so many other aspects of Makerspace that can be used for social and emotional learning, or Makerspace moments in literature.
through work with our literacy facilitator last year, she really wanted to push read alouds. And so that's what I do with kindergarten. And anything that I give them, they get to keep. And I'm doing it with second grade as well. I do not see first grade this year due to scheduling conflicts and trying to be a math interventionist too. But with second grade, we did like surface tension, you know, on a penny with drops of water, and they got to keep their pipettes, and that but they also think that's the best day of their whole life when they get to keep a pipette.
Yeah.
Literally, they were like, what do we do? Where do you want us to put these? And I said, you can just keep them and take them home, and you can go home and you can show your parents, you know, ask them to make a prediction about how many drops of water will fit on the surface of a penny, and, you know, explain to them about surface tension and molecular bonding, and you can keep it. And they were like, we can keep it. I mean, they flipped out. It's so cute.
That is so cute.
So cute.
So you don't see so you can't see every grade level because
first is the only grade level that I don't see this year.
How long do you have them?
40 minutes.
40 minutes? Okay.
Yeah. There's another school who has a makerspace in Springdale, Arkansas called Shaw Elementary. And they are on Instagram, and they are two of the most amazing. I went and visited them when I was putting mine together. They have wrapped it up. And I mean, you talk about like a whole maker mindset. That whole school is so bought in to this maker movement and constructivist thinking. I mean, if I could just go up and spend like a week with them, but they are amazing. And they are just doing the coolest stuff. And even when we went on quarantine and their kids weren't coming, they were putting together boxes of wonder, and they'd put together like 100 boxes a week.
That's
of
so
just,
cool. Yeah.
It's so cool. And people,
I love that.
It is the coolest. And the stuff that they're just doing to create interest among stakeholders, let me see if you can see this. They take really up close. They have a photography club that they run through the Wonder Lab, and they take really like macro pictures of something in the school, and they post it on their Instagram, and then people try to guess what it is. And so they just take pictures of stuff and put it out there, and people just freak out about trying to guess what it is. The kids, so they're, you know, they want their parents to be on Instagram following Shaw Wonder Lab. But then they do like Wonder Lab at home.
Oh, cool.
Yes, where they're even whether they're in school or out of school, and they do it all summer long too, but they also run a summer camp where kids can come in during the summer, and they do Wonder Lab after hours where kids can stay after school and come in. Like, it's the coolest thing.
That's so cool.
I aspire to be them.
I love that whole, like, all of this is like, so I'm so glad to know that this is happening in the world. I don't have enough of this in my district. My district is just focused on testing, and that's it. And school is awful, and it has to change. That's what I love so much about like people that are embracing like maker mindset, like, because I feel like it's a different breed of teachers that just they want something different for our kids. And I'm like, I'm like, oh, I finally have found like people that I'm like, yes.
So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to, if you're listening and you're thinking, yes, it's the maker mindset. It's the aspects of wanting kids to love school. It's those things that just gets them so excited that you want to be a part of. And yes, I think that this is the right thing for you. Like, I think this is an exciting element. If you are feeling like, you know, there's pressures and I've got to do this testing and I've got to make sure that I get these kids to these scores and I'm being evaluated and those kinds of things, then Makerspace might be more difficult. So I really do think it's for teachers that really want to try something, like feel like we've got to hold on to that hope that something can be different. So if that's you, then I hope that you do join me for every classroom needs a makerspace, because I think you will just get fueled more of this type of thinking. So, just wanted to share that again. It's at TrinaDeveryTeachingAndLearning.com in the menu, free Makerspace Masterclass. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how you might get started.
Okay, so when you first started, like where would it even be like a first, like, okay, this is what you need to know, or like even if you are a little bit more advanced, but like what would you want to know? Like what more do you want to know?
Just to start with, like, because I was coming in fresh, like I had no clue what I was doing or anything about this. They hired me based on my STEM credentials, not my Makerspace credentials. So that was all new to me. Find a place that has a Makerspace and you think is doing it well, and go visit and spend some time talking with them. Like, we all want to share, especially those of us who already have this mindset and this passion about this. Like, nobody's going to tell you, no, you can't come in. Go observe lessons, sit down and talk with them, get their emails, make a wish list of stuff that you want to have. If you want to set it up where it's got those STEAM components, think about stuff that you need for each, the science, the technology, the engineering, and start just making a wish list, because there are grants and funds and there's money out there, or there's, not a GoFundMe. What's the other? Donors Choose.
Oh, Donors Choose.
People want to support education. They want to support their kids' schools or their grandkids' schools. Like, let them do it, and then have those resources for years and years to come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is another aspect that I go over in Mastering Makerspace. I talk about where to find the money. And it's called Show Me the Money. So there are ways. We don't have to break the bank. And I totally understand that teachers are spending their own money. And so we've got to find ways to get materials donated and given to us. So there definitely are ways. So don't worry about that. So now we talk a little bit more about some more must-haves to get started.
Have a really good plan of procedures in place. How do you want kids to interact with each other and the materials? How do you want them to interact with the environment? I had some really firm established rules from day one, and we did a lot of non-examples about that. One thing, and so much of it is trial and error too. So just be willing to adjust, and teachers are good at monitoring and adjusting anyway, but
I think those things are really important, because that's what overwhelms people.
Because I even think in my school, even though we have a dedicated Makerspace, I think that teachers are seeing the benefits of that enough that they would want it on a smaller scale in their own room, because their kids are so bought into it. And, when you were talking about that your school is just so into test scores and testing and all that, I mean, that's not a place that kids want to come be.
No, they don't.
And you're not going to see great test scores in a place where kids are miserable.
No, you're not.
And so if you can make kids want to come to school and get them excited, you're going to see that pay off with your test scores.
Massively. I totally agree with you.
And honestly, if I were in the classroom still, just as a classroom teacher, I don't think I could move away from this mindset.
No,
I mean, I have kids tell me all the time. I had a kid literally out of her mouth say, "I'm having so much fun. This isn't even learning."
Yeah.
But she knew, I'm learning a ton of stuff, you know?
But I think when kids feel like they're playing and they're learning on accident, that is my favorite. That's I'm you've hit the sweet spot. You've hit the magic, that's the thing.
Yes, that's the jackpot. Learning that feels like play. So I can't say enough about Makerspace. It excites me. It motivates me. I'm passionate about it. I'm excited to be talking about it at STEMCon 2021 this year, which I'll also link to in the show notes. And I'm really excited to be sharing my free masterclass on Makerspace. Every classroom needs a Makerspace. I hope that you join me at TrinaDebris.teachingandlearning.com. Free Makerspace Masterclass. It's in the menu, so you can join that. Don't forget to join the Facebook group because that's where the training will be. And let's talk about it. Let's hear all about it. I would love to. And also, if you are on Clubhouse, I'd like to have a conversation there as well. Clubhouse is a new social media platform. If you're not aware, it's audio only, which is great. And it's like a podcast on steroids. That's what it feels like. But I'm looking for more teachers that want to talk about Makerspace. I'd love to open a room and then be able to discuss it together, and your voice would be able to be heard too, which I think would be beautiful and wonderful. So I would love to do that. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to talk more about that in Makerspace Thinking and Learning, my Facebook group that I have currently. And I'd love to talk to you about it. So hopefully your wheels are turning and you're really starting to think about this. We've been talking about it for a while. Just have a couple more weeks where we have a few episodes left to really talk about it. And then we'll be moving on. So don't worry, like we'll get to some other content, some other teaching content. But if you are feeling excited about the possibilities of a Makerspace, then I really hope that you join me. All right, I will see you next time. This one tired teacher is feeling inspired. I hope you are as well. Until next time, sweet dreams and sleep tight.